The text arrived at 10:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. 3 words that would change everything. He's mine now. I stared at my phone in the darkness of our bedroom. The blue light casting shadows across the walls Marcus had helped me paint 5 years ago. Behind me, I could hear him brushing his teeth in the bathroom, humming that off-key tune he always hummed when he thought no one was listening. My hands didn't shake. My breathing stayed even. I simply saved the number, turned off my phone, and set it face down on the nightstand. "You okay?" Marcus asked, climbing into bed beside me. "Fine," I said, "just tired." He kissed my forehead the way he had for 12 years of marriage, rolled over, and fell asleep within minutes. I lay there in the dark, completely still, and began to think. My name is Claire Donovan. I'm 38 years old, a forensic accountant by training, and until this moment, I believed I had built a stable, honest life. Marcus and I met in college. We married young. We survived his law school debt, my mother's illness, 3 miscarriages, and the slow, grinding work of building careers in a city that didn't care about either of us. We didn't have children. We had routines instead. Sunday morning farmers markets, Wednesday night dinners with my best friend Rachel and her husband David, annual camping trips to the Adirondacks where Marcus pretended to enjoy hiking and I pretended not to notice. It wasn't passion, it was partnership, or so I thought. The next morning I woke before Marcus and went through my usual routine. Coffee, toast, NPR in the background. He emerged at 7:15, already dressed in his charcoal suit, scrolling through emails on his phone. "Big day?" I asked. "Depositions," he said without looking up. "Probably won't be home until 8. "The Henderson case?" "Yeah." He kissed my cheek, grabbed his briefcase, and left. I waited until I heard his car pull out of the driveway. Then I picked up my phone and looked at the message again. He's mine now. No context, no explanation, just ownership. I opened a new document on my laptop and began to type. Date, time, screenshot of the message. Then I did what I'd been trained to do. I started looking for patterns. Marcus's credit card statements were linked to my phone for household budgeting. I pulled up the last 6 months. Nothing unusual at first. Gas, groceries, his gym membership. Then I noticed the recurring charges. Tuesdays and Thursdays, same restaurant, Bella Notte, a wine bar downtown I'd never been to. I checked his location history on our shared family plan. Tuesdays and Thursdays, same address, not the courthouse, not his office. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I kept going to work, kept smiling at dinner, kept asking about his day. On Wednesday evening, Rachel came over for our usual weekly catch-up. She brought wine and complaints about David's mother, who was visiting again and rearranging their kitchen cabinets without permission. I swear, Claire, if she moves my spice rack one more time... Rachel stopped mid-sentence. Are you listening? Sorry, I said, refocusing. Long day. Rachel studied me with the intensity of someone who'd known me since freshman year of college. You look tired, like actually tired, not just I need coffee, tired. Work's been busy. Uh-huh. She didn't believe me, but she let it go. That was Rachel. Patient, loyal, the kind of friend who showed up when I called at 2 a.m. during my mother's final hospital stay and just sat with me in the waiting room, not saying anything, just being there. Her husband David was Marcus's college roommate. That's how the 4 of us became inseparable. Vacations together, holidays, game nights that devolved into arguments about monopoly rules. Rachel and David had been married for 10 years. They had twin 7-year-old boys who called me Aunt Claire and drew me birthday cards with carefully misspelled messages. I almost told her about the text that night. Almost. But something stopped me. An instinct, a need to know more before I spoke. On Thursday, I did something I'd never done before. I left work early, drove downtown, and parked across the street from Bellinate. I waited. At 6:30 p.m., Marcus's BMW pulled into the lot. He got out, checked his reflection in the window, and straightened his tie. Then a woman emerged from a silver Lexus 2 spaces over. She was younger than me, late 20s, maybe 30. Dark hair, red dress, confident stride. She smiled when she saw him. He smiled back. They didn't kiss, didn't hold hands, just walked inside together like colleagues meeting for a business dinner. I took photos, license plate of her car, timestamp. Then I ran the plate through a database I had access to for work. Professional use only, but I'd stretched that definition before. Her name was Vanessa Chen, 29 years old. Address in the expensive part of town. And her employer? My breath caught. Chen and Morrison LLP, David's law firm, the same firm where David was a senior partner. I drove home slowly, my mind working through the implications. Marcus worked at a different firm, smaller, less prestigious. He'd mentioned wanting to make partner for years, but the opportunities never came. Meanwhile, David's firm was one of the most successful in the city. Vanessa Chen worked for David. When I got home, Marcus was already there, sitting on the couch with his laptop, looking relaxed. "Thought you had depositions until 8, I said. "Wrapped up early," he replied. "Ordered Thai. Hope that's okay." "Perfect." We ate dinner. We watched television. We went to bed. I lay awake beside him, staring at the ceiling, and began to plan. Before I share what happens next, I want to ask you something. If you're watching this story unfold, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Seriously, I want to know if you're in New York, London, Tokyo, or a small town I've never heard of. Your support keeps these stories coming, and I read every single comment. Now, back to the moment everything changed. On Friday morning, I called in sick to work. Then I did what any forensic accountant would do when something didn't add up. I investigated. I started with Vanessa Chen's social media. Instagram was public. Lots of carefully curated photos. Brunch with girlfriends, gym selfies. But buried in the older posts, I found what I was looking for. Company events, Chen and Morrison holiday parties, office photos, and in one photo from 8 months ago, there she was, standing beside David at a firm fundraiser. He had his arm around her shoulders, professional, friendly, nothing inappropriate. The caption read, "Best boss ever. Thanks for believing in me." I sat back in my chair and exhaled slowly. Vanessa Chen wasn't just some random woman. She was David's associate, Rachel's husband's employee. Next, I checked Marcus's phone records. Our phone plan allowed me to see call logs. Over the past 3 months, there were 63 calls to one number, Vanessa's number. Most lasted between 5 and 20 minutes. Late evening calls, weekend calls, calls while I was at work. I documented everything, screenshots, timestamps, a spreadsheet that would make any auditor proud. Then I went to our bank statements, joint checking, joint savings, credit cards. I found it immediately once I knew what to look for. Hotel charges, twice a month for the past 4 months. The Grand View Hotel, downtown, same days as the Bellinate charges. I calculated the total. Over $6,000, our money, spent on hotel rooms while I worked late to cover our mortgage. Saturday morning, Rachel texted me. "Brunch tomorrow? I need to escape my mother-in-law." "Sure. Usual place? Perfect. 11 a.m. Sunday morning arrived bright and clear. I dressed carefully. Jeans, simple sweater, no makeup beyond the basics. I wanted to look like myself, not like someone preparing for war. Rachel was already waiting when I arrived at the cafe, a half-empty mimosa in front of her. "Thank God," she said when she saw me. "I've been here 10 minutes, and I've already heard about 3 people's Coachella plans. When did brunch become a competition?" I smiled and sat down. "How's David's mom?" "Reorganizing our linen closet as we speak." Rachel sighed. "But enough about me. You've been weird all week. What's going on?" I looked at my best friend. 12 years of friendship, countless secrets, endless support. "I need to tell you something," I said, "and I need you to stay calm." Her expression shifted immediately. "Are you sick?" "No, nothing like that." I pulled out my phone and set it on the table between us. "Marcus is having an affair." Rachel's face went blank. "What?" I showed her the text, then the photos from Thursday night, then Vanessa's social media profile. "Oh my God, Claire." "She works at Chen & Morrison," I said quietly. "David's firm." Rachel stared at the phone, then at me. "David's firm?" "She's one of his associates. I found photos from company events." "Does David know?" "I don't know, but I need to find out." I paused. "And I need your help." Rachel set down her mimosa very carefully. When she looked at me again, her expression had changed. The sympathy was still there, but underneath it was something harder. "What do you need?" That afternoon, Rachel called David and suggested they invite Marcus and me over for dinner that evening. Something casual. No kids, just the 4 of us. David agreed immediately, pleased at the spontaneous plan. At 6 o'clock, Marcus and I arrived at their house with a bottle of wine. David answered the door, already in jeans and an old college sweatshirt, completely relaxed. "Claire, Marcus, come in, come in. Rachel's making her famous lasagna." We settled into their living room. Wine was poured. Small talk flowed easily. David complained about a difficult client. Marcus talked about a case he'd just won. Rachel smiled and refilled glasses. I waited. At 7:30, while Rachel and I were in the kitchen allegedly checking on the lasagna, she looked at me. "You sure about this?" "Yes. Once you do this, there's no taking it back." "I know," she nodded. "Okay, I'm with you." We returned to the living room. I sat down beside Marcus, and Rachel sat beside David. The room felt smaller suddenly, more enclosed. "So," I said casually, pulling out my phone. "I got an interesting text this week." Marcus glanced over. "Yeah?" I opened the message and held up my phone so everyone could see. "He's mine now." The room went silent. Marcus's face drained of color. "Claire?" "It's from Vanessa Chen," I continued calmly. "Tuesday night, 10:47 p.m. David's head snapped toward Marcus. "Vanessa? My associate Vanessa?" David's voice was very quiet. I turned my phone toward David and showed him Vanessa's social media profile. "This, Vanessa." David stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. Rachel reached over and took his hand. "I don't—" Marcus started, but I held up my hand. "I'm not done." I pulled out my laptop from my bag and opened the spreadsheet I'd prepared. 63 phone calls over 3 months, twice monthly hotel stays at the Grandview, $6,473 charged to our joint credit card. I turned the laptop so everyone could see. Every charge, every date, every detail. "Jesus Christ, Marcus," David said, his voice tight. Marcus looked at me, then at David, then back at me. It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I replied evenly. "You've been having an affair with Vanessa Chen for at least 4 months, probably longer." Rachel was watching me with something like awe. David was still staring at Marcus like he'd never seen him before. "Does Vanessa know you're married?" David asked, his voice dangerously calm. Marcus didn't answer. "Because she's worked for me for 2 years," David continued. "And in all that time, she's never mentioned dating a married man." "David," Marcus said, "let me explain." "You're explaining to the wrong person." David stood up. "You're going to explain to Claire. Then you're going to explain to Vanessa. Then you're going to explain to HR at my firm, because workplace relationships are supposed to be disclosed, and if she failed to mention she was sleeping with a married partner from another firm, that's a disciplinary issue." Marcus's face went from pale to gray. I stayed very still, watching it unfold. "Claire," Marcus turned to me, desperate now. "Please, can we talk about this at home?" "No," I said simply. "We're talking about it now, in front of witnesses." "This is insane." "What's insane," I interrupted, "is that your mistress felt comfortable enough to text me. What's insane is that you spent $6,000 of our money on hotel rooms. What's insane is that you looked me in the eye every single day and lied." He had no answer. Rachel squeezed David's hand. "I think you should go," she said to Marcus, her voice cold in a way I'd never heard before. "Rachel, come on." "No, get out of our house." Marcus looked at me one more time. I looked back, my expression completely neutral. He left. The door closed behind him, and the three of us sat in silence for a long moment. "Well," David said finally, "that was the worst dinner party we've ever hosted." Rachel laughed, a broken sound. Then she started crying. I moved to sit beside her, and she grabbed my hand. "I'm so sorry, Claire. God, I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault. He's my employee. This happened because Marcus made a choice," I said firmly. "And Vanessa made a choice. Neither of those choices are your responsibility." David was pacing now, his phone out. "I'm calling HR. I'm calling our ethics officer. This is... Jesus, if this gets out, if clients find out one of my associates was involved with opposing counsel's husband..." "David," I said quietly. He stopped. "Before you do anything, I need to know something. Did you know?" He looked at me, stricken. "No, I swear to God, Claire, I had no idea." I believed him. David wasn't a good enough liar to fake that level of shock. "Okay, then, here's what I'm asking. Let me handle Vanessa first." David frowned. "Handle her how?" I pulled up Vanessa's number on my phone. The same number that had sent me that message. "I'm going to reply." Rachel looked at me. "What are you going to say?" I smiled, for the first time all evening. "I'm going to give her some important information," I typed carefully. "Thank you for letting me know. I've attached your boss's number. He's married to my best friend. Thought you might want to discuss workplace ethics with him. Best of luck." And then I attached David's cell phone number. I showed the message to Rachel and David. David's eyes widened. "You're sending her my number?" "She texted me from a place of power," I said. "She thought she'd won. She thought I'd be devastated, maybe beg Marcus to come back. Instead, she's about to realize she's been sleeping with the husband of her boss's wife's best friend. And now her boss knows." Rachel started laughing. "Oh my God, Claire." "Is this legal?" David asked. "Absolutely. I'm sharing your contact information with one of your employees. Nothing illegal about that." David looked at Rachel. Rachel looked at me. Then David started laughing too. "Send it," he said. I hit send. 10 seconds later, my phone buzzed. Vanessa had read the message. I turned off my phone and set it down. Now we wait. I didn't go home that night. Rachel insisted I stay over, and I didn't have the energy to argue. David called his mother and asked her to keep the twins for one more night. Then the three of us sat in their living room, drinking wine and processing what had just happened. "What are you going to do?" Rachel asked around midnight. "File for divorce," I said. "I already contacted a lawyer last week. As soon as I saw the hotel charges, I knew." "You've been planning this," David said. It wasn't a question. "I've been preparing. There's a difference." "What about the house?" "It's in both our names, but I've been paying 80% of the mortgage for the past 3 years. My lawyer says I have a strong case for keeping it." Rachel shook her head. "You're terrifyingly calm about this." "I have to be. If I let myself feel it right now, I'll fall apart, and I can't fall apart until this is over." My phone, still off, sat on the coffee table like a bomb waiting to explode. "Do you think she's tried to call you?" Rachel asked. "Probably, and Marcus, and maybe even David." I looked at him. "You should check your phone." David pulled out his phone. His expression shifted. 17 missed calls from Vanessa and 4 from Marcus. "Don't answer yet," I said. "Let them panic." "Claire," David said slowly, "I need to tell you something. Vanessa's up for promotion next month. Junior partner track. If this gets out, if HR launches an investigation..." "Her career is over," I finished. "I know." "And you're okay with that?" I thought about the text message, the confidence in those 3 words, the assumption that I was weak, disposable, easily replaced. "She made her choice," I said. "She knew he was married. She knew what she was doing. And when she sent me that message, she was trying to hurt me, to claim victory. So yes, I'm okay with the consequences." Rachel squeezed my hand. "I love you. You know that?" "I know." We sat there until almost 2 a.m, the 3 of us, not saying much, just being together. It was the same way Rachel had sat with me during my mother's illness. Just presence, just loyalty. Finally, David stood. "I'm calling HR first thing Monday morning. This is a conflict of interest. She should have disclosed the relationship." "What will happen to her?" I asked. "Best case? Formal reprimand and probation. Worst case? Termination." I nodded. "And the promotion?" "Gone. Even if she keeps her job, junior partnership is off the table." "Good." Monday morning, I turned on my phone. 147 notifications. Missed calls, voicemails, text messages. I ignored them all and went to work. At 9 a.m., I had a meeting with my divorce attorney, Patricia Chen. No relation to Vanessa, thank God. Patricia was 53, impeccably dressed, and had a reputation for winning cases that other lawyers said were unwinnable. "You've done excellent work," she said, reviewing my documentation. "Most clients come to me emotional and unprepared. You've built a case." "I'm an accountant. Documentation is what I do." "Well, this documentation is airtight. Proof of infidelity. Proof of financial misconduct. Did you say he spent over $6,000 on hotels?" $6,473, she smiled. "In our state, that's considered dissipation of marital assets. We can ask the judge to account for that in the property division." "Meaning?" "Meaning Marcus will owe you half of what he spent on his affair? Plus, with proof of adultery, we can push for a more favorable settlement overall." "What kind of timeline are we looking at?" "If he fights it, 6 months to a year. If he's smart and settles, 60 days. I nodded. "File the papers." That afternoon, while I was in a meeting with a client, my personal phone buzzed. I ignored it, but when I checked later, I saw the message was from David. "Vanessa resigned this morning. HR gave her the option, resign or be terminated. She chose to resign, effective immediately." I read the message twice. Then I replied, And Marcus called me 6 times. I haven't answered, not sure I ever will. I stared at that message for a long time. David and Marcus had been friends for nearly 20 years, college roommates, best men at each other's weddings. And now that was over, because of Marcus's choices. That evening, I finally went home. Marcus's car was in the driveway. I'd expected that. When I walked in, he was sitting on the couch, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Claire, finally, you haven't answered my calls?" "I know. We need to talk about this." "No, we don't." I set down my bag and pulled out a manila envelope. "You've been served. Divorce papers. My attorney will be in touch with yours." His face went blank. "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious." "Claire, please. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. Stop." My voice was sharp enough to cut. "Do not insult me by pretending this was a mistake. Mistakes happen once. You made 63 phone calls. You spent $6,000. You looked me in the eye every single day and lied." "I love you. I want to fix this." "You love me?" I laughed, a bitter sound. "You spent 4 months sleeping with another woman. You let her text me. You humiliated me." "I never wanted her to text you. I didn't know she—" "I don't care what you wanted. I care what you did. And what you did was destroy 12 years of marriage." He stood up, desperate now. "What about counseling? What about trying to work through this?" "No." "Claire, the papers outline my terms. You can accept them, or we can go to court. But either way, this marriage is over." I walked past him toward the stairs. "Where are you going?" "To pack your things. You're staying somewhere else tonight." "This is my house, too. And the restraining order I'm filing tomorrow will make it very clear that you need to stay away. Don't push me, Marcus. You won't like what happens." He left 20 minutes later with a suitcase and his laptop, looking shell-shocked. I watched him drive away. Then I locked the door, walked upstairs, and finally let myself cry. Over the next 2 weeks, the fallout spread like ripples across a pond. Vanessa's resignation became office gossip at Chen & Morrison. Someone leaked that she'd been involved with a married man, and suddenly her professional reputation was in tatters. LinkedIn connections withdrew. Networking contacts went silent. She tried to call me 3 times. I never answered. Marcus tried to fight the divorce initially, claiming I was being unreasonable. His attorney took one look at my documentation and advised him to settle. He settled. I kept the house. I kept most of our savings. He agreed to pay half of what he'd spent on hotels back into our joint account before the divorce was finalized. David never spoke to Marcus again. Rachel told me later that David had been angrier about the betrayal of friendship than almost anything else. Marcus hadn't just destroyed his marriage. He'd destroyed 2 decades of friendship by involving David's employee and putting David's firm at risk. "He keeps calling," Rachel said one evening over wine at my house. "Marcus, leaving voicemails about how sorry he is, how he made a mistake. David just deletes them. Good. Are you okay? Really okay?" I thought about it. I'm getting there. Some days are harder than others, but I don't regret anything I did. The text message to Vanessa was savage, by the way, iconic. I smiled. She started it. I finished it. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I was promoted to senior forensic accountant at my firm. The same week, I received a LinkedIn message from Vanessa. "I know you probably hate me. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were friends with David's wife. I didn't know how connected everything was." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, "You knew he was married. That's all you needed to know." I blocked her and moved on. 6 months later, I was sitting in my kitchen on a Saturday morning, drinking coffee and reading the newspaper in comfortable silence when Rachel texted. David and I are thinking about renewing our vows. 10-year anniversary. Would you be willing to plan it with me? I smiled. Of course. When do we start? Life moved forward. Not quickly, not easily, but forward. I started therapy to process the betrayal and the grief of ending my marriage. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected. I took a solo trip to Iceland and watched the northern lights alone, feeling both lonely and free. Marcus tried to reach out twice after the divorce. Once through a mutual friend, asking if we could talk. Once through a letter, handwritten, claiming he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. I didn't respond to either. Some bridges, once burned, don't deserve to be rebuilt. A year after the divorce, I ran into Vanessa at a professional conference. We saw each other across the lobby. She looked away immediately, her face flushing. I kept walking. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger requires energy, requires investment in the person who wronged you. I had none left to give. She was just someone I used to know, someone who made bad choices and faced consequences. Rachel and David's vow renewal was beautiful. Small ceremony, close friends, their twins serving as ring bearers. Rachel cried through the entire thing. Afterward, at the reception, Rachel pulled me aside. "Thank you for being here," she said. "After everything that happened, I worried you wouldn't want to be around us anymore." "You didn't do anything wrong." "I know, but still, this must be hard." I looked around the room, at the people celebrating love that had survived 10 years, at the twins running around with cake frosting on their faces, at David watching Rachel like she was the only person in the world. "It's not hard," I said honestly. "It's hopeful." That night, driving home alone, I thought about the text message that had started everything. 3 words from a woman who thought she'd won. "He's mine now." She was wrong about so many things. She thought Marcus was a prize worth claiming. She thought I'd be devastated, broken, easy to dismiss. But in the end, she lost her job, her reputation, and whatever relationship she thought she had with Marcus. He left her almost immediately after our separation, apparently unwilling to commit now that I wasn't there as a safety net. And me? I lost a marriage that wasn't real. I lost a husband who never deserved me. And in exchange, I gained something infinitely more valuable. I gained myself back. I gained clarity, peace, the knowledge that I could face betrayal and not only survive, but come out stronger. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about consequence, about making sure people who act without integrity face the results of their choices. Vanessa thought she could text me with impunity, claim victory, and walk away unscathed. Instead, she learned that actions have consequences. And I learned that I was never as powerless as they assumed. If you've made it this far in the story, thank you for staying with me. Before I go, I want to ask one more time. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Are you in New York, Sydney, São Paulo? I read every comment, and your support means everything. Thank you for being part of this journey. 2 years after the divorce, I'm sitting in my home office, the home I fought for and kept, working on a case that will probably take me months to untangle. My coffee's gone cold, but I don't mind. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the walls gold. My phone buzzes. A text from Rachel. "Girls' night this weekend? I need to escape the chaos." David's mother is visiting again. I smile and type back. "Absolutely. Your place or mine?" "Yours." I need to see what you've done with the guest room. I've been renovating, slowly, room by room, making the house mine in ways it never was when Marcus lived here. It's not perfect yet, but it's becoming something I'm proud of. Later that evening, I receive an unexpected email. It's from a women's professional organization asking if I'd be willing to speak at their annual conference about navigating workplace ethics and personal integrity. Someone had recommended me. I don't know who. I accept. 3 weeks later, I'm standing on a stage in front of 200 women, telling a version of my story. Not the personal details, not the names, just the framework. When someone tries to claim power over you, I say, the most effective response isn't anger, it's documentation, it's preparation, it's knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. The applause is thunderous. Afterward, a young woman approaches me. She's maybe 25, nervous, clutching her conference program. "Thank you," she says. "For what you said up there, I'm going through something similar, and I needed to hear that it's okay to protect yourself." I hand her my card. "If you need resources or just someone to talk to, reach out." She nods, eyes wet, and walks away. I think about who I was 2 years ago, the woman who received that text message and felt the floor drop out from under her life. I think about who I am now, stronger, clearer, unshakable. Revenge, I've learned, isn't about destruction. It's about restoration, about taking back what was stolen, your dignity, your peace, your sense of self. Vanessa thought she'd won when she sent that text. But she didn't understand the most important thing. You can't take something from someone who knows their own value, and I've always known mine.